Hey, welcome back to your Dream Coach podcast. I'm Shayla Way, and today I want to talk about something that I have watched hold back some of the most talented, most capable, and driven people that I've really ever known. The apology. Not the one that you say out loud, and not the formal story or not the email that begins with, I hope this is okay. The quiet one, the internal one, the one that shows up every time you have a big dream and then immediately soften it before you share it. Every time you know exactly what you want and then preface it with, I know this sounds crazy, but, and every time you succeed at something significant and your first instinct is to make yourself smaller so no one feels uncomfortable. Ambitious people apologize for their dreams constantly, and most of them do not even know that they're doing it. So this episode is about that pattern, where it comes from, what it costs you, and how to stop doing it for good. If you've ever held yourself back from saying the full version of your dream out loud, this episode is for you. So let's describe it in detail because I want you to recognize yourself in it. You have a dream, a real one, the kind that lights you up from the inside when you let yourself think about it fully. The kind that makes you feel more alive, more clear, more certain about why you are doing all of this. And then someone asks you about it. Or you're in a meeting and the conversation touches on the future. Or you are writing your bio or your vision statement or telling a new person what you do. And instead of saying the real thing, you say the manageable thing, the impressive but not too impressive thing, the version that is big enough to sound motivated but not small enough to invite skepticism, the version with all the qualifiers built in. We're working toward X, though of course it depends on a lot of factors. I'd love to do Y eventually, though I know it takes a lot of time. My goal is Z, but I'm still figuring it out. That is the apology, the preemptive softening of the dream before anyone has even had the chance to react to it. And here is the thing about that I want you to really sit with. You are not apologizing to the person. You're apologizing to yourself. You are giving yourself permission to want a smaller version of what you actually want, because the smaller version feels safer, less vulnerable, less exposed to the possibility of failing visibly or being judged or having someone look at the gap between your dream and your current reality and make you feel foolish. The apology is self-protection dressed up as humility. And it is one of the most expensive things that you can do to yourself and to the business that you are trying to build. Every time you say the small version of your dream, you practice believing the small version is all you get. So where does this all come from? Well, before I tell you how to stop it, I want to spend some time on where it comes from, because I do not think you apologize for your dream because you're weak or unconfident or not ready. I think it comes from somewhere much more understandable than that. It comes from being taught that wanting a lot is dangerous. Most of us, and I want to speak specifically to some of you in this audience because this can run particularly deep for a lot of us, but most of us were taught explicitly or implicitly that wanting too much was risky, that ambition without apology was arrogant, and that the right way to want things was quiet, modestly, without making too much of a show of it. We watched other people be labeled as difficult or aggressive or too much for the exact same behaviors for others that were praised around them. And we learned that often before we were old enough to name the lesson. Now, that ambition needed to be softened to be socially safe, and that the dream needed a qualifier to be acceptable. That is not a character flaw. That is a survival adaptation, and it served you until it stopped serving you, until the habit of softening became automatic, and now it is shrinking not just how you present yourself, but how you actually think about what is possible for you. And it comes from a fear of the gap. There is a specific vulnerability in saying a dream out loud that does not yet match your reality. Because once it is out there, once the people around you know what you're reaching for, the distance between where you are and where you want to become becomes visible. And that visibility feels like exposure. So the safer move feels like keeping the dream really vague or small enough that no one can measure the gap. Saying you want to grow the business rather than saying you want to build a 7-figure company with a team of 10. Saying you are working on something exciting rather than naming the specific bold thing. But here is what that safety costs you. It keeps the dream private. And a private dream has no gravity. It cannot pull resources, people, or opportunities toward it because nobody knows it is there. It comes from not yet believing you are allowed. This is the deepest one and the most honest one. Sometimes the apology is not about protecting yourself from the other people's judgment. It's about protecting yourself from your own. Because somewhere underneath the softening is a belief that you have not fully earned the right to want this yet. That the dream is for someone more qualified, more experienced, more established. That you will say it out loud when you are more ready. But you are never going to feel ready enough to say the unapologized version of your dream. That readiness is not a feeling you wait for. It is a practice that you build. And the practice starts with saying the real thing out loud. So there's 5 ways that ambitious people apologize for their dreams. And let me name the specific ways that this shows up from my experience, because it is rarely as obvious as literally saying sorry. It is much more subtle than that. And so here are the 5 most common ways that I see ambitious people apologizing for their dreams. Number 1 is the preemptive disclaimer. I know this sounds crazy, but, or this might be a long shot, but, or don't judge me for this, but, and this disclaimer that comes before the dream, apologizing for the size of it before anyone has had the chance to respond. You are protecting yourself from a rejection that has not yet happened. And in doing so, you are telling the room and yourself that the dream needs a defense. It does not need a defense. It needs to be said. The second thing is the immediate minimization after a win. You hit a goal, you land a big client, you get an achievement that would have felt enormous to you 3 years ago. And your first instinct is to immediately downplay it. It was a team effort. I got lucky with the timing. That's not as big of a deal as it sounds. Humility is a virtue. Reflexive minimization is not humility. It's an apology for taking up too much space. And it trains you slowly and consistently to believe that your wins are not really yours. And the third one is sharing the 5-year dream as a 10-year dream. You have a timeline in your head, the honest one, the one that feels true when you let yourself really sit with it. And then you share a longer, more conservative version of it with other people. Not because you actually believe it will take that long, but because the longer timeline feels less vulnerable, less likely to invite someone to point out how ambitious it is. But the universe, your team, your clients, your own nervous system, they all operate from the timeline you actually said out loud. Give them the real one. The fourth one is pivoting to credentials before claiming the vision. Someone asks about your business, and before you tell them what you are building, you lead with your background, your experience, your track record, the qualifications that make the dream acceptable, as if the dream needs to be earned before it can be stated. Your dream does not need your resume to justify it. Lead with the vision, let the credentials come second as context, not as permission. And the fifth one is letting other people's doubt quietly become your own. Someone responds to your dream with skepticism, with the list of reasons it's difficult, with a that's ambitious that lands like a warning rather than a compliment. And instead of holding your ground, you start to quietly absorb your doubt. You start to wonder if they're right. You find yourself saying a smaller version of the dream at the next opportunity just in case. Other people's doubt about your dream is information about your experience, their limits, and their own responsibility to possibility. It is not instructions for you. You are allowed to hear their concern and keep going anyway. So I want to go through 3 specific things that you can start doing right now to stop apologizing for your dream. Number 1 is to practice saying the full version, not the safe version, the real one. In private first if you need to, in the mirror, in a journal, in a voice note to yourself. Say it without the disqualifiers, without having to feel like you have to qualify, and without the timeline extension, without the preemptive disclaimers. Just the dream stated as fact. This is what I am building. This is where I'm going. This is what I want. Do this until it feels less strange, because the strangeness is just unfamiliarity. The more that you say the full version, the more real it becomes. And the more really becomes, the more your decisions, your conversations, and your leadership start to point toward it. The second thing is to catch the apology in real time. Start noticing when you are about to soften the dream, the moment before you add the disclaimer, before you extend the timeline, before you pivot to your credentials instead of leading with the vision. Just notice it. You do not have to stop every time immediately, but awareness is the first move. And you cannot change a pattern you cannot see. And the third thing is surround yourself with people who can hold the full version. This is the one that makes everything else easier. The people in your life who respond to your dream with tell me more instead of, oh, that's a lot. The ones who expand your sense of what is possible rather than contracting it. The room that reflects the future version of you back to you rather than the current version. You do not need everyone in your life to believe in your dream, but you need enough people who do that their belief can hold you on the days when yours wavers. So find your people and build your room and lead from it. I want to close with something I've said before and will keep saying because I believe it in every part of me. Your dream is not too big. It is not arrogant. It is not something you need to earn the right to say out loud. It is the most honest thing about you, the clearest signal of what you are here to build and who you are here to become. And every time you apologize for it, every time you say the small version, add the qualifier, pivot your credentials, absorb someone else's doubt, you are not being humble. You are being absent from your own life. Say the full version, lead from it, let people see it, and then watch what happens when the world knows what you're building. This episode is the one I want you to share most widely. Send it to every ambitious person that you know that is playing smaller than they should be, because the world does not need more people with carefully hedged, safely modest, apology-wrapped visions. It needs more people willing to say the full thing out loud and lead from it. I will see you on the next episode. If you're able to give me a review on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify, it would mean the world. A couple minutes of your time will make a real impact. Keep dreaming big and keep leading better. Until next time.